APC governors welcomes resignation of Abdullahi Ganduje as party's national chairman. Fubara, Wike, Emewule make public appearance after Tinubu broke at peace. Aminu Dantata for burial in Saudi Arabia. Kano hold absentia funeral prayer. On the foreign scene, Iran buried top military commanders, nuclear scientists killed during 12-day war with Israel. Good evening, this is News at 7 on West Spring Television. My name is Tomilola Daniel Adejo. The All Progressives Congress APC governors under the aegis of the Progressive Governors Forum have welcomed the resignation of the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Ganduje, saying it aligns with the party's continued evolution. The resolution was taken as the forum concluded a two-day strategic regional meeting in Benin City, hosted by the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpello. The forum reaffirmed its strong belief in a united, just, and prosperous Nigeria, committing to work collaboratively to deliver bold reforms, strengthening institutional trust, and accelerate socio-economic development across all geopolitical zones. The governors resolved to remain faithful to the party's values, leveraging technology, innovation, and intergovernmental collaboration to drive Nigeria's transformation from the bottom up. Ganduje, a former governor of Kano State, stepped down from his position on Friday. Ali Dalori has since assumed the position in acting capacity, pending the meeting of the party's National Executive Committee, NEC, to fill the vacancy. Barely 2 days after a fresh round of peace talks at the presidential villa in Abuja, suspended Rivers State Governor Abdullahi Fubara, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, and the suspended Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Honorable Martin Emewule, again appeared in public together. The fresh appearance was this time at a funeral service in Romeo Bricom, Wike's hometown in Obio Akwa local government area. The three key political figures have been locked in a political crisis for nearly 2 years. The appearance follows Thursday's peace meeting brokered by President Bola Tinubu, which sought to end the lingering crisis between the governor and his former political allies. Also present at the funeral service were key political stakeholders, including Senator Allwell Nyeso, Senator George Thompson Sekibo, and Senator Olaka Nwogu. Although no political statement was made at the event, the presence of the three political leaders in one place has reignited hope that the crisis, which led to the declaration of a state of emergency 3 months ago, may be nearing an end. In the meantime, former President Goodluck Jonathan is alleged to top presidential aide deliberately without a crucial handover letter from the National Assembly during late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua's prolonged illness. In an interview with Rainbow Book Club, trended on Saturday, Jonathan disclosed that Yar'Adua had written a formal letter to empower him as acting president before traveling abroad for medical treatment in 2010, but the aide entrusted with the document refused to submit it. The former president said the aide's action plunged the country into a constitutional crisis, leaving Nigeria without an acting president or commander-in-chief for months. He explained that while he could perform executive functions as vice president, including presiding over Federal Executive Council meetings and approving ministerial memos, he lacked the constitutional authority to act as commander-in-chief without the formal letter. Yar'Adua died in May 2010 after months of illness, and Jonathan subsequently completed his term before winning the 2011 presidential election from the National Assembly.
So definitely the northern Muslims wanted Yar'Adua to at least do 8 years before he could come back to the south for another, probably a Christian, to take over. But well, the health issue came up, and it was the problem. And that is why even to allow me to act was an issue. When Yar'Adua was going for the medical checkup, actually a letter was written. Of course, the Constitution says that for the Vice President to act, the President will send a letter to the Senate and the House of Reps informing them. That letter was written, but the person who the letter was handed over to, I will not mention the name to you now, was one of the aides of Yar'Adua, refused to submit the letter to the National Assembly. And Yar'Adua became so ill that he had no control of issues. So we had the country where the president was not available and there was no acting president. Yes, as a vice president, you can take over the responsibilities of some responsibilities of the president. You know, the president of Nigeria has two main responsibilities. First, you are the chief executive of the country, so like a prime minister of a country. That the vice president can assume, wait, you don't need any transfer. And I was doing that because we're having an executive council meeting, we're approving memos from ministers, so the government was going on. But there was no commander-in-chief. What is the second responsibility of the president of Nigeria, besides being the executive head of the country? And there's nothing like acting commander-in-chief. Either you're a commander-in-chief or not. But when you become an acting president, you are at the same time a commander-in-chief. So that was lacking, and no country allows that gap. A country like America, you don't allow that gap at all. Yes. If American president wants to, even if it's a whitlow, that he require anesthesia, that he will be off for 5 minutes, he will hand over to the vice president. Yes. Before that procedure. Immediately he regained consciousness to take over. But we stayed for some time. And that led to what they call the doctrine of necessity. When the National Assembly felt that the country was in a situation where it was not expected, they now have to initiate this doctrine of necessity, and they now made me to act as a president without the letter from
Moving on, a funeral prayer in absentia was held this afternoon in Kano for the late business mogul Alhaji Dantata, who died on Friday in Dubai at the age of 94. The prayer held at the Umar bin Khattab Mosque in the Kano metropolis was led by Sheikh Ibrahim Khalil, chairman of the Kano State Council of Ulamas. Thousands of sympathizers, including prominent personalities such as the Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, attended the prayer to honor the memory of the deceased. Speaking after the prayer, Sheikh Khalil said Salatu Ghaib is observed for Muslims who die outside their own country or in places where funeral rites cannot be performed. It described the late Dantata as a devout Muslim, philanthropist, and community leader who lived a life of service and humility. He is expected to be buried in Medina, Saudi Arabia, in accordance with family arrangements. To health matters, Nigeria's health insurance system faces significant challenges as low enrollment rate, public distrust, and affordability gaps hinder its goal of universal healthcare coverage. While there have been calls for government at all levels to increase awareness, many Nigerians, especially in the informal sector, remain uninsured due to weak enforcement and financial constraint. Toby Sanusi has more of this.
Established in 1999 and enacted into law in 2005, the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, was designed to ensure that all citizens, especially low-income earners, have access to quality health care without financial hardship. In 2022, it was replaced by the National Health Insurance Agency, NHIA, under the NHI Act 2022, which made health insurance mandatory for all Nigerians. But despite the NHI Act 2022, enforcement remains weak, especially in the informal sector, as many Nigerians distrust health maintenance organizations, HMOs, due to delayed reimbursement, poor service delivery, and lack of transparency. Charity Jimo, a resident of Osun State, is a family woman who has refused to get enrolled in a health insurance scheme, recounting the bottlenecks she has witnessed over the years.
When you get to the hospital and you don't have money, you will not get enough care because you're on health insurance, but they will treat you better when you have your money. That is why I have not enrolled for it. The government should provide enough drugs in the hospitals.
Here in Osun State, the state government established the Osun Health Insurance Scheme, OIS. But over the years, the scheme has enrolled only about 6% of the state population, which exceeds 3 million people, as revealed by the Executive Secretary, Razak Akindele.
We don't have up to 300,000 in the insurance in both the formal and the informal sector. The formal sector are the government workers. And that one, it is compulsory that they have to be in the scheme. You understand? Put them together, their family, and those who are doing individuals, we don't have up to 300,000. And that's why we have been canvassing. It means that our coverage in Osun State is just about 6%.
For Blessing Adeyemo, who registered under the NHIS, and a retiree, Anthony Emmanuel, captured under HOIS, the health insurance has been a lifesaver and has reduced financial burden on them.
12 years ago.
I've been using health insurance for the past 12 years. I gave birth to all my children using it, and I've been enjoying their service.
The way the government introduced this is very good for us. We retirees, oh my Lord, we are enjoying it so much. There is no complaint. You go there at any given time, you are being attended to.
But Mrs. Adeyemi is calling on government at all levels to allocate more funds for health insurance, emphasizing that enhanced financial support is crucial to securing sufficient medical supplies and drugs for patients.
If the drug is more than 2,000 naira per one, they won't give you. They will ask you to buy it outside, but you'll be given treatment while you pay 10%. The government should improve on providing enough drugs at the hospitals.
While the health insurance is accessible at government-accredited hospitals, both public or private, Dr. Akindele says an individual is required to pay 12,066 naira for a whole year, while a family of 6 is required to pay 57,600 naira for a year to receive treatment at their OIS accredited hospitals. Meanwhile, he assured that the Osun Health Insurance Agency remains vigilant in monitoring healthcare providers, taking action against any hospitals that fail to deliver quality care to patients.
We can't say perfectly that all our providers are doing excellently well, but we have also stepped up our monitoring and evaluation system. We go to facilities unannounced, and we also impersonate and see as if we're patients or enrollees and see how the hospital is going to respond. Those who have been falling short of standard, we have also been dealing with them.
Having seen many patients struggle financially, especially during child delivery, medical emergencies like accidents, Dr. Ibukunlu Afalope, a consultant family physician at Uniosun Teaching Hospital, says the absence of health insurance leads some patients to quacks, further worsening their health condition.
When you have people that do not have insurance, you have them running helter-skelter. They might not be able to get access to quality care because, once you don't have insurance, you might not be able to access maybe a facility that could actually give you a very good care, and this might actually tilt someone in getting management from quack. A lot of things comes around that you don't even preempt, and that is why insurance can never be, the importance of it can never be overemphasized.
While Nigeria's health insurance landscape is improving with the NHI Act and state-level initiatives, significant gaps remain, especially in a country where 63% of its population are multidimensionally poor, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Earlier this year, the NHI reviewed its annual registration premium programs, which saw the group, individual and family social health insurance program, GiftShip, previously priced at 45,000 naira, now increased to 66,450 naira annually. Meanwhile, with sustained reforms, it is hoped that Nigeria can reduce out-of-pocket spending and ensure healthcare access for all citizens. Toby Sanusi, Western Spring Television News.
In another development, Edo North Senator Dantata Shomole has said the excessive printing of money by the Central Bank of Nigeria under the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari through the Ways and Means policy crippled the naira. The Ways and Means provision allows the federal government to borrow from the CBN if it needs emergency finance to fund delayed government-expected cash receipt of fiscal deficits. At the Progressives Governors Forum's meeting, an interactive session in Benin City, Edo State this afternoon, Senator Shomole blamed the policy for the eventual collapse of the Nigerian currency against the US dollar. The former Edo State Governor noted that this was the doing of the immediate past CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, noting that over 31 trillion naira were printed, which they called Ways and Means. He further stated that the root cause of the present cost of living and the exchange rate regime can be traced back to the excessive amount of banknote which the past government created and which the current government has eliminated. He revealed that Nigeria was borrowing every day adding that it has become President Bola Tinubu's burden to pay back the loans in order to guarantee the sovereignty of the country.
Please, we all have a duty to educate the man on the street where we are coming from. We are coming from a country that was almost like Zimbabwe or Idi Amin's Uganda, where Idi Amin Dada asked the central bank governor, go and print money for us to share to people. And the governor said, if we print more money, Uganda currency will be like a sheet paper. And Idi Amin was reported as saying, you call the money sheet paper, we'll teach you what to do with sheet. A week later, the man had an accident and he was gone. This is what the immediate past CBN governor was doing. In the Senate, we have the records. Now that they printed over 31 trillion naira, which they call ways and means. You know, when government want to deceive the people, they use jargon. They call it ways and means, but I can tell you what it means. It means a situation in which government print back notes, not based on what we have earned or any resources, just print back notes to go and share the people to meet their money illusion. It is the result of that excessive printing of back notes that led to the collapse of the naira. Because you print more naira and you have limited dollars. You use this small naira to change few dollars. So what happened? The price of the dollar went up and the value of the naira went down. So to understand the root cause of the present cost of living and the exchange rate regime, you must trace it and locate it in terms of the excessive amount of banknotes, two so-called ways and means, which the past government created and which this government has eliminated. We could go on and on. Nigeria was borrowing every day the way fish drink water. Today, it has been the burden of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to pay back those loans in order to guarantee the sovereignty of our nation.
The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu, has urged Corps members to accept their positions in good faith and settle down in their places of primary assignment to offer selfless services towards national development. The DG, in a statement by the Acting Director of Information and Public Relations of the NYSC, Caroline Embo, advised them to also respect and learn the culture and traditions of their host communities. He gave the advice while interacting with the 2025 Batch A Stream 2 Corps members at the NYSC Lagos State Orientation Camp in Yanoipaja. The General Nafiu, who warned the Corps members against misconduct, emphasized that violators of Corps bylaws and the Constitution of the country would not be spared. In a camp report to the Director General, the NYSC Lagos State Coordinator, Christiana Sal Wang, said the Corps members had been fully integrated into the camp committees and were performing their duties tremendously. Elsewhere, over 80% of the 98,232 candidates eligible for today's nationwide mop-up unified tertiary matriculation examination failed to appear, a development the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board attributed to intensified security measures targeting impersonators and exam cheats. The JAMB registrar, Professor Ishak Oluide, who monitored the exercise at the Technology CBT Center in NAF Valley Estate, Abuja, told journalists that turnout was alarmingly low, with only about 12% of registered candidates showing up across the country. Professor Oluide noted that mop-up exams are typically organized for a few thousand candidates with legitimate reasons such as illness or verified technical issues to miss the main UTME. He explained that this year's large mop-up pool was necessitated by allegations of widespread absences in the main examination, noting that the board opted to give everyone a second chance while also leveraging intelligence gathered from security agencies. You're watching News at 7 on Western Spring Television. Still to come. UK Prime Minister says fixing welfare a moral imperative after